Forget myths. Forget heroes. What you're about to hear isn't a story. It's a wound carved into eternity. There are legends etched into stone, and then there are truths the gods tried to burn from existence. This is the chronicle of Kaelor, the Unwritten, the only soul born without fate, the anomaly that made destiny tremble. In the void before beginnings, suspended in the space between existence and nothing, there hangs the Loom of Fate, an impossible mechanism older than gods, older than reality, older than the concept of old itself. It is vast beyond comprehension. Its threads stretch across galaxies. Its weavers are three beings who have no names, no faces, only purpose, to write every destiny that will ever be. The Moirai, the Fates, the weavers of all. Every creature that has lived, is living, or will ever live is bound to this loom by a single golden thread. Kings and peasants, monsters and saints, mortals and immortals, even the gods themselves, all are woven into the grand tapestry. Every thread, except one, a void thread, colorless, silent, untouchable. For the first time since the dawn of forever, the three ancient weavers stopped their work and stared at this impossible thing. What is this? A flaw? No, a choice. They tried to cut it. The shears shattered. Their fire dies. The loom screams. They lock it away behind 7 impossible seals, praying it never awakens. It does. A child is born in a forgotten village. The moon refused to rise. The stars turned away. Even the wind stopped, as if reality itself was holding its breath. And then, silence. The infant does not cry. He stares. Across eternity, the void thread pulses. The Fates felt it. The gods felt it. Even death himself paused mid-harvest and turned toward the mortal realm, confused and afraid. The eldest, a woman who remembered things she should not, took one look at the infant and whispered a word not spoken in 10,000 years. Unwritten. They named him Kaelor. It meant hollow in the old tongue. Kaelor grows wrong. Age 3. He walks through fire. Flames bend around him. Age 5. He falls from a cliff, lands without breaking. Age 7. A fortune teller sees his palm, screams, drowns herself days later. Her final carved message, the blank one walks. Ages 12 to 17. He sees past that never happened, talks to futures that don't exist. Time stutters around him. He ages more slowly, feels out of sync. The truth becomes undeniable. Kaelor is not in the pattern. He is the whole in it. In the Celestial War Hall, a chamber so vast that galaxies orbit within it, the Divine Council convened for the first time in 1,000 years. The Unwritten weakens the loom. He must be erased. He has done no wrong. He is a weapon waiting for a master. I cannot see his end, and that terrifies me. Verdict? Kill him. The Sentinels awaken, beings forged from stolen centuries. Their mission? Erase Kaelor from all timelines. Kaelor is in the forest when the sky cracks open. 7 Sentinels descend, walking paradoxes, aging the world with every step. Kaelor, the Unwritten, your existence is forbidden. Kaelor had never run from anything in his life, but some instincts are older than courage. He ran. But they don't chase through space, they chase through time. As Kaelor fled through the forest, centuries peeled away around him like layers of skin. Trees age, crumble, regrow. The sun spins like a wheel. Minutes collapse into centuries. When the sentinels surrounded him in a circle of frozen time, when they raised their crystalline blades to cut him from existence, Kaelor did something that should have been impossible. He chose not to be there. Not teleportation, not magic, simply choice. And reality, confused and terrified, obeyed. He fell through the cracks between seconds, tumbling through the void between cause and effect, until he landed in a time that no longer existed. He had fallen backward through time, not to the distant past of his world, but to the first age, the age before ages, the time before the gods claimed dominion. These were beings so vast that their thoughts became mountains, their dreams became oceans, their fears became the first monsters. Kaelor wandered this dying world for what felt like years, though time had no meaning here. He survived on instinct and the strange invulnerability that came with being unwritten. Poison could not kill him, because destiny had never written his death. Starvation could not claim him, because no thread predicted his end. He wanders until he finds what should not exist. The Library of Silent Gods. It was not built. It had always been, existing in the space between creation and destruction, maintained by beings who died before existence had rules. The doors were 13 miles tall, carved with languages that hurt to read. Above the entrance, written in letters of solidified nothingness, were the words, "Here lie the truths that God's prey remain buried." Inside, the library stretched into infinity, not metaphorically, but literally. Shelves rose higher than the atmosphere. Books floated in gravitational patterns that followed rules of meaning rather than physics. Some sections existed in multiple timelines at once. Kaelor walked for days through the stacks until he reached the Chamber of Erased Chronicles, a section sealed behind chains of pure paradox, marked with warning sigils in every language that would ever exist. Beyond this point, knowledge that unmakes knowers. He touched the chains. They shattered like glass. Inside, a single book writes itself as he opens it. You are not a mistake. You are the failsafe. Before gods ruled fate, there was the first flame, creator of creators. When destiny became tyranny, the flame forged one being outside the pattern. Choice itself needed a guardian. You are Kaelor, where fate ends and freedom begins. Kaelor closes the book. The truth hits like lightning. He was not born broken. He was born necessary. Across all timelines, the void thread ignites. The fates screamed. The gods panicked. Death himself took a step backward. Kaelor accepts who he is, and reality shifts. Kaelor felt it surging through him, not power in the traditional sense, but something far more terrifying. Absolute choice. The ability to look at destiny and say, no, not this, something else. He closed his eyes and chose to return to his own time. Reality obeyed. He opened his eyes in his village, though nothing matched the world he remembered. 17 years might have passed, or 17 centuries, or merely 17 heartbeats. Time had unraveled around him, threads torn loose by his disappearance. Still, he was home, and the gods watched from the shadows.
The sky didn't just open, it shattered. 1,000 sentinels descended like a plague of crystallized moments. Divine warriors in armor forged from meteor iron and fallen stars. Celestial beasts whose roars could age mountains into dust. Kaelor himself descended, his form too vast to comprehend, his voice the sound of inevitability. Kaelor, the Unwritten, you have defied the order divine. You have awakened a force that threatens all of creation. Submit to erasure, or we will unmake not just you, but every timeline you have touched. Kaelor stood alone in the center of the ruined village, surrounded by an army of divine judgment. He smiles. You wove fate so tightly it can no longer bend, and anything that cannot bend breaks. Korath, god of war, roared and charged, his blade forged from the first metal ever cooled, the weapon that had slain primordial titans. Kaelor didn't dodge, he didn't defend, he simply chose for the blow to have never been struck. Korath's blade stopped an inch from Kaelor's heart, frozen in time, vibrating with impossible tension. The war god pulled back, eyes wide with something gods should never feel. Fear. The gods unleash the end of all things. Time storms, starfire weapons, causality plagues. Kaelor fights with choice. A war ends before it begins. A plague in the future is undone. A tyrant's past is rewritten into mercy. Reality shifts under every decision. The gods forge the absolute blade, the embodiment of destiny. The strike falls. Kaelor raised his hand, and the full power of divinity focused on a single point. Then we end this, now. The gods combined their essence into a single weapon, the absolute blade, a construct of pure inevitability, the embodiment of fate itself, given killing form. It could cut through anything, even choice, even freedom, even the unwritten. Kaelor swung the blade. Instead, he did something that broke every rule of reality. He stepped outside the loom entirely. Not teleportation, not escape, simply removal from the pattern. A being unbound by fate can choose not to exist in any timeline and then decide to exist in all of them simultaneously. The absolute blade cut through the loom where Kaelor had stood, and the universe screams. Fate collapses, prophecies shatter, lives reconfigure. Chaos, but also freedom. For the first time since creation began, the future became unknowable. The gods watched their perfect order dissolve into infinite possibility, and some wept while others raged. What have we done? The gods made a choice. Perhaps their first real choice in eons. They could not kill Kaelor. They knew that now. They could not bind him. The loom had proven that. They could not control him. Reality itself refused. And that is why the gods tried to erase his name. Not because he ended destiny, but because he reminded creation of its oldest truth. Choice is stronger than fate. As the dust settles and the echoes of battle fade into the hollow stillness, Kaelor feels the world shift, subtle but undeniable. Something ancient watching him. A low tremor ripples through the ground, not of stone, but of thread, as if reality itself has been plucked like a harp string. Kaelor's breath slows, his vision blurs, and for a heartbeat, the world freezes. A voice, layered, ageless, neither male nor female, slips into the edges of his mind. You have stepped off the path we wrote for you. Kaelor clenches his fists, but cannot move. The air grows heavy, folding inward. Your survival was never meant to be. Shadows coil like serpents around his feet, weaving themselves into symbols older than the gods. Your survival was never meant to be, but the tapestry has torn, and now we must weave again. The world snaps back. Kaelor stumbles forward, gasping. Only then does he see it. A single strand of glowing red thread hanging in the air before him, cut, frayed, vibrating with untamed destiny. He reaches out. It flickers. It burns. And in the final pulse of light, he hears one last whisper. The next move is yours, Unwritten One. Thunder growls across the sky. Somewhere far beyond the horizon, a new power awakens. Something that felt his defiance and will not tolerate it. The curtain hasn't fallen. It's only been lifted. Stay tuned. The next chapter is already moving toward you.